Welcome everyone. Again, we appreciate you all showing up on time so we can get started on time. We are very lucky to have with us again Nicholas Love from the World Institute of Disability, where Nicholas serves as a community inclusion director. And today, Nicholas is going to talk with us about making informed employment decisions using the Missouri Disability Benefits 101 or DB101. So without anything more, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Nicholas.
Thank you, Stacy. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so we can get into the presentation. All right, Stacy, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I am.
Good, thank you.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat.
All right, well, welcome everyone. As Stacy says, my name's Nicholas Love. I'm the Director of Community Inclusion at the World Institute on Disability. And one of my main responsibilities there is to manage the Missouri Disability Benefits 101 or DB101. And today we're going to talk about how individuals with disabilities and our circle of supports can utilize this great tool to help make informed decisions about employment. So today we're going to talk about how to understand this very easy to use free tool from the Missouri DB101. The website address is there. We'll also put it in the chat. It is www.mo.db101.org. We're going to discover how to use Missouri DB101 to understand the real strong complexity between Social Security, the SSI and SSDI, and the rules that are there that are called work incentives that actually are there to help people go to work. So there are state and federal rules that help with benefits so people with disabilities so we can go to work. We're also going to talk about these estimators. There's these incredible estimators within DB101 where you can create your own personal scenarios to see how work might affect your benefit in healthcare. So you can go in and talk about how many hours, at what wage, and what it might do to your benefits. And that way you get to make an informed decision about what's happening to you, and you don't need to go find someone to help you with that. You can get that information yourself. And we're really going to use it to debunk the myths about losing your benefits. There are so many things that are just not true. So many people do not go to work because they're fearful of losing their benefits. But in fact, for a lot of people, it's actually very beneficial, and there are rules to help go to work so we can move out of poverty. Disclaimer is I will not be able to answer any personal specific questions. So if you're like, hey, this is what's happening with my Social Security, or Social Security did this to me, or I got a letter that, I can't help you with any of that. I don't provide any direct services anymore. I do have that background, but it's not what I do now. But I am going to make sure that you get access to that individual help and those resources, because they will be within DB101. And actually, probably most of the questions you have probably can be answered within DB101. I'll also let you know that all the information in this presentation are of the 2022 numbers. They change every year. So make you aware of that. So what is this DB101 I keep referring to? So DB101 is a very user-friendly, specific to Missouri. So there's 11 states that have DB101. Missouri is very blessed to be one of them. So all the information in there is specific to Missouri. It's a website for people with disabilities to help work through the myth and confusion about Social Security, healthcare, employment, and a lot more. It's one tool that has like so much information in it. And again, there is that website, www.mo.db101, which is also in the chat box. So DB101 is a one-stop where you can get every information you need. It is 24/7, 365, accurate information. We know there's so much myths out there and so much miscommunication. And quite frankly, if you call Social Security and ask Social Security these questions, they will give you most likely wrong information. Not to be any malice or any, talking bad about them, bless their hearts. They're not trained on helping people go to work. So they're going to give you wrong information. So we created DB101 so that everyone had the same information. There's no need to be an expert on this, nor is there a need to find an expert. If you're able to attend this webinar, you know how to use a mouse, click website, and read. You have all the skills you need to get the information without waiting for someone else to tell you. So it's so easy to navigate and find the information you need. And it's a safe harbor. There is no private identifying information. We are not connected to any government, any system. We are advocates. We are people with disabilities, helping people with disabilities get the information they need. So it's not like you're going to put in some information and Social Security is going to go, oh, Johnny's looking for work. Safe place to find the information you need. And it's there to, understand the complexity between benefits and work programs and how they actually interact. And the user-friendly estimators are there to help you give that information. You can find that scenario, but then there's also content around it to explain, not just, oh, this is what's going to happen, my benefits, but why? And how can I use other systems and other resources to support me? There's short videos throughout about SSI and SSDI and the impact of work, and I'm going to show you those. And it's all about the local, state, and national resources in one place. And we created it to get rid of that fear. A lot of people do not go to work because they are fearful of what's going to happen to their benefits and therefore stay in poverty. And that is not what we want. We want us with disabilities to be fully incorporated in the world. And at the World Institute on Disability, we believe part of that is through employment. So this again is the website. I set up this PowerPoint to be able to help people navigate through it when I'm not here. So this PowerPoint is set up as kind of a table of contents from this point. It's having the links to the different sections within DB101. So there's a going to work section where we're going to talk about getting past the myths, talk about the truth of work, right? You're going to love that section. We're also talking about building your asset and wealth, because people with disabilities, unfortunately, a lot of us have to live in poverty, and we want to move people out of poverty and move people into a life where they actually have money to save. And a lot of people think, well, I'm living on benefits, I don't have money to save. Poor people, unfortunately, we need to save. Rich people, they got the money. But us with disabilities, we need to be a little bit more creative. And so we talk about ways to actually get around some of the resource limits and be able to support people so they can have the means they need. We talk about different supports and job accommodations. Missouri is an employment first state, which believes that all people with disabilities have the right to go to work and can go to work. Just a lot of times we might need additional support and accommodations. And so we talk about how to get that and how to utilize those. And again, those work incentives, those are the rules that are there to help you either keep or your health care or maximize your earning. There's also additional information for young people. So talking about rules and programs specifically for younger people under the age of 18, or even about getting higher education, how to pay for school, use disability rights, resource centers, etc. And if somebody has an onset of a disability, how does that go about? How do you apply for benefits? How do you get the benefits you need? Again, here are those videos I'm going to show you when I get into DB101. There's videos about SSI. What is SSI? What happens to my SSI if I go to work? And what if I'm a young person with SSI and I go to work? Different rules for young people. And then there's videos for SSDI. So what is that? How do you plan for going to work for it? And what are the rules that help support people going through work incentives? And then we talk about the estimators. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you an estimator. And it's a way to be able to just go in and put in your actual or even estimated. You can say, hey, I'm thinking of getting a job making, $15 an hour, 30 hours a week. These are my benefits. What's going to happen? So we have a work benefit and work estimator. That's for people over the age of 18, but not retired, who are on SSI or SSDI. And then we have a school and work estimators for young people under the age 18 on SSI. And then there's these quick estimators within both the SSI and work and SSDI and work. So that's your kind of table of contents. A little top heavy there, but what I'm going to do now, I'm going to end the PowerPoint and I'm going to take you into DB101 because it's such a great tool. Let's just get in and use it. So I'm going to go through some things. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, and Stacy's going to just interrupt me and we can move forward. Again, I can't answer any personal questions, but I can make sure I get you at least the right direction. So in DB101, again, anyone with internet access can use DB101. I'm going to put a little disclaimer again. I have a lot of disclaimers. What you see right now of this DB101 will be changing in the next couple of months. It's going to be improved. It's going to have a different look. It's going to have the same information, but a more intuitive way to find it. And it'll be completely mobile responsive, which means you can use it on your smartphone or tablet or computer, whatever. So right now you can access it through any device, but it's a little chunky. So mobile responsive means it's going to respond to whatever device you're using. So it's going to change a look, but it's going to have even more information and everything in here. So don't worry about it, because even if it looks different and you don't know where to go, there's a search at the very top. Type in what you're looking for and you'll find like a little internal Google, and it'll give you to the right direction. So even if we move something and you want to know about, SSI, I can just type it in, hit my search, take me to that article. So very easy. Just use the search at the top. So across the top here, we have the home. We have your estimators. And I'll show those to you in a minute. You have your videos and your glossary. DB101 is redundant on purpose because we don't want you to get lost in it. We want you to find it. And we want you to find the information in a way that you can digest it. So sometimes there'll be a shorter article that'll lead to more in-depth articles. So I want to let you know that it's easy to navigate through. You can always print any page, email page, and give any feedback on anything. So we had the go into work section. We have getting past the myth, building wealth, asset and wealth, job supports and accommodations during work incentives. Over here, we have our programs on SSI, SSDI, finding right healthcare coverage for you and how health benefits work. And then we have young people getting higher education and that disability onset. Here are the estimators. Again, you have your school and work and your benefit and work estimator. You can get previously saved sessions and the same headers across the bottom. So very easy to use front page. You also have learning about your healthcare. I've already kind of put something in there and I'll show you that. So DB101, main focus that people really like are our estimators. And our estimators are there, like I said, to be able to share information. So let's kind of look at one of our estimators. Let's look at not our benefit and work or schoolwork, but let's go to our mini estimators. Now the mini estimators are within the SSI or SSDI. So we're going to go into this program here, SSI. I'm going to click into that. SSI is supplemental security income. It supplements the income people do not have for food and shelter. So it's based on a financial need. So people who have SSI are held to a resource limit of under $2,000 for an individual. So I'm going to tell you how to get around that $2,000 resource limit as we move forward too. So everything's set up very much similar in DB101. There's a table of contents. We start with basic information. We give an overview, very simple overview of what is SSI. What's the difference between SSI and SSDI? Different rules, so don't get them mixed up. How to get that expert help. We talked about that. Right here, this is your local Social Security offices. These are the Work Incentive Planning and Assistance, which is WIPA. Those are counselors that provide free benefit counseling to individuals. So you don't have to pay for them. You have a couple here. You also have your vocational rehab, which is there to help people get work. And you have the Ticket to Work hotline that can answer some basic questions, as well as guide you into professionals, counselors to help. Or maybe you want to use the Ticket to Work program, which is a program that helps people who receive SSI or SSDI get work or maintain work. So those are right there. And in the sections on SSI are those SSI videos. So very quick, there's like less than 2 minutes long, little video about what is it? What is SSI? The videos are not only at the top, but also embedded within the area. Table contents we'll go into anytime we mention a program. We're going to talk about how to apply. So how to apply for benefits. So we also have the online application. We have your local numbers to call. But not only do we do that, we also talk about how to get your application ready. So this is a checklist. Most time people are denied SSI, one thing, because they can work, not that they are working, but they have the potential to work. That's where you get your SSI, because you don't have the potential to work. But another reason people don't get it is because they don't have all the right information gathered. So here is the list of everything to bring to Social Security. You can create that checklist, print it out. And then what other programs should you be looking at as you're applying for benefits? So maybe you need nutritional assistance or temporary assistance, or even emergency assistance for cash or housing. So all of that's in there as well. So anytime we mention something, we're going to also give you how to apply. Then we're going to talk to you about how to understand those decisions and how to report those changes. Disability determination. How do we know you have a disability, right? What does Social Security consider? What are the questions they ask? There's 5 questions they ask. So they ask about work level, right? And this can all just drop down, give you information. They want to talk about, the condition severity of your disability, the list of impairments Social Security looks at, so you can go in and check that list. And then can you do the same work as before? They give examples. And can you do any other type of work? And we give examples. So this is how Social Security determines a disability. So once somebody has got benefits, what about going to work? So this is very easy, right? I want to know what's going to happen to my benefits or my SSI if I go to work. So the article is SSI and work. And what it does is it explains about SSI and all those rules. Well, some of this may not make sense. And if you just read these rules and you don't know which ones apply to you, it gets a little overwhelming. So they have right here in the top a quick estimator. So you can go into the quick estimator. Sorry, they did not want that. You open up some things to make it a little easier for you, and somehow there we go, make it more complicated. So we go into the quick estimator, and you can answer very simple questions. So let's say you know what your SSI, so you have to know what benefits you receive, right? Wrong information in gives wrong information out. DB101 is accurate information kept up to date. So this information is very, very accurate. And actually at the bottom of every article, there'll be a date the last time it was updated. So it gets updated throughout the year. Just making sure we check links and everything. So you have to know the right information. So let's say somebody receives the full federal benefit rate of 481, the 841, right? That's the maximum payment someone can receive on SSI is 841. Now, if somebody was blind, there would be additional rules. Blind is the only disability that has different rules. This person we're going to say is not blind, and they're not under age 22. If we said yes, we get some other questions. We're going to say no. They haven't worked. If we said yes, we get other questions. We say no, they gray out. And you can go here, what's your future plan? What is the gross monthly income? Again, no math needed. Help calculate this, which I love, no math. So let's say somebody let's start at the basics, okay? Starting at minimum wage in Missouri of $11.15. I think people can make way more than that, but if we start at the foundation, go up, good place to start. No tips. Tips are considered income. And let's say they're only working 20 hours. Again, starting at part-time minimum wage, just the foundation. We build from there. You can go up as high as you want, right? Using those earnings, that tells me the person has gross $970.05, right? We have impairment-related work expenses. If you don't even know what those are, you can click in, it explains what it is. If I went to help calculate this, it even gives examples of what kind of impairment-related work expenses. Those are things people are paying out of their pocket to go to work due to their disability. So could be care for a personal care assistance or medical device or even prescriptions, right? So what is somebody needing for their disability to go to work? Say somebody has a hearing impairment and they use a hearing aid. Then that hearing aid is going to be used when they're not at work, But that hearing aid, the battery, the care for it, that's an impairment rated work expense because without it, work becomes more challenging. So those accommodations can be put into here. We're not going to put any in for this particular one. We're just keep it easy right now. Okay, so I have gross monthly earned income. And I say, show these results. And we wait. Well, my computer decides to kick me out. Fabulous. I love when that does that. That is not DB101 issue. That is me having too many windows open. So I'm going to try to do that one more time. We'll see if it wants to work for me. It's thinking about it. I have too many things open.
Hey, Nicholas,
841.
while you're
Yes.
reopening those.
While I'm redoing this, yes.
Yeah, how do you suggest, like, what's the best way to collect this information? Like, should it be during tax time or like just
So
have your
this is
bank account
taxes.
open?
Taxes do not connect to Social Security. In fact, in all wisdom, IRS has decided not to share information with Social Security. We're fighting that wonderful rule. But you need to contact your local office. You can call them and you can simply say that you want what's called your benefit planning query. And we'll talk about how to do that. You can even have a benefit specialist help you. Now, you also can figure out if you have Medicaid or Missouri Health Net, then you will have SSI. And if you have Medicare, then you have SSDI. And if you have both, you get both. That's another way of figuring it out. All right, so I did it again and I got not kicked out this time for having too many windows open. And it says in this snapshot, I'll have more income. I'm able to show at 841 now, that's the unearned income, going to work, the $970, and then I'm able to show the reduction of the check, which is $398. Now, I don't like the word reduction. Reduction sounds so negative when you're, living in poverty and having challenges. So this is the rule for SSI. For every $2 you earn, you get to keep $1 of your check. So for every $2 you earn, you get to keep $1. Eventually, your check will go to zero as you earn more. But by the time you go to zero, you're earning twice as much. And let's scoot down a little bit to right here. Sorry. You'll get to keep your health care, right? So you're eligible for the Missouri Health Net, which is your Medicaid, without a spend down, subject to the resource limit of that $2,000. And I know that because I click in there and it tells me how much more money I have. And it suggests I go to a benefit counselor, or if I go in and I do a full estimator. So I'm able to see that change of income from $841 to $1,368. And that's going to work part-time. And that is a huge increase. And you're keeping your health care. So very simple way to figure that out. And you also have one for SSDI. So let's go into a full session. Sorry. Back to my homepage. That's where I wanted to go. There we go. Close one window. So we can go into Benefit Work Estimator. And the Benefit Work Estimator will, again, it's for people over the age of 18 who receive SSI or SSDI. You can even, on the side here, talk about foods. If you're food stamps, you can put that in. You can talk about housing. It'll change what the housing rent is. If you say you're in HUD housing, it'll talk to you about Health Net, the Ticket to Work, health assurance program, your Medicare, employer-sponsored health care, all of that is right there. Do you have questions, Stacy?
We do. We have a few questions in the chat. Chris asks, how do you respond to SSA, which is Social Security Administration? How do you respond to SSA if they tell you you have to pay for your benefit planning query?
Individuals do not have to pay for their benefit planning query. So tell them to go to what's called POMS. Just say the word POMS to them, POMS. That is their book of record. Individuals do not have to pay. Benefit counselors do not have to pay. Other people who are doing it on your behalf may have to pay. but your benefit planning query is free to you. You can also go to My Social Security, create an account there, and be able to get your information, which is what they recommend now because so many places, Social Security offices are just starting to open. And quite frankly, I think there's a pile of paperwork sitting on the floor somewhere throughout COVID that was just gathering. So we're having some challenges with Social Security because it was so perfect before. Another question.
A couple more questions. If a person with SSDI, or excuse me, people with SSDI go on regular Social Security at any age. People are working longer than ever before. Does this information apply to the older population also? So if they have SSDI, it can be any age.
So, okay, SSI and SSDI. Let me just take a break for a minute. And again, all the information I'm providing you will be in DB101, okay? So SSDI is for individuals who've paid into what's called the system. It's this Social Security Trust Fund, and that is paid through FICA. So the FICA on a paycheck actually goes to what's called social insurance. Social Security disability insurance is social insurance. Your FICA, think of it as your premium that you're paying in for your retirement, or if you've become fully disabled prior to retirement. For those people who've not paid enough into their FICA to get what's called credits, again, it's in DB101 under SSDI, if they haven't got their credits or have not paid into FICA enough, then they'll get what's called SSI, which is supplemental security income, which supplements the income people don't have for food and shelter. And therefore, that will be based on a financial need. So the amount that somebody gets is based on who's helping them with food and shelter. If no one is, they will get the full federal benefit rate of $841. Now, if you go to work on SSI, you're now getting FICA. You're paying your FICA, which means you're paying into your SSDI trust fund. So you can go from SSI to SSDI, and you can get both if your SSDI is below the federal benefit rate of $841. You'll get your SSDI, and your SSI will supplement up to that. That's how benefits work. So anyone can get either of those benefits anytime, dependent upon how much they paid into the system and if Social Security has considered them disabled, that's the challenge right there. So,
and there's another follow-up question to that in the chat. The question is, at age 62? So
retirement rate is different depending on the year you're born. I don't know when it changes. It used to be only 64, then 65. Now it's 67 for me. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to get to retire. So dependent upon what your age is and when your birth date is, believe it or not, is when your retirement is. You can go to, again, My Social Security, create an account, and it will tell you what your retirement age is and what you can get at different times. So you can get early retirement, and then there's later retirement. So I don't deal with retirement because even though I look really old, I'm not there yet. I deal with disability benefits. So DB101 is strictly disability benefits, not retirement.
Okay, because someone did ask, does this information apply to the elderly working population?
If they receive their Social Security due to retirement, it will not. There are completely different rules when people retire and receive Social Security than there is when they get it from their disability. Now, while Social Security may not have the information about how to help people with disabilities go to work, they have plenty to help people with retirement. Their information accurate, I would contact your local Social Security. Now, I'm going back to DB101 for a moment. So this is the benefit and work estimator. It tells you who the age is for right there. It tells you get your bank statement and the information about your Social Security. Okay, so you need information. You can't calculate something without actual numbers, right? It'll take about 20 to 30 minutes long. There is no identifying information. Everything is confidential. I don't share it with anything. We're not connected to any government. It is a very safe place. And you can see here that it even talks about how Missouri Health Net, the adult expansion group, just recently made changes. So we give you a link to that change, and we tell you that this information was last updated in June June 30th of 2002. So you go through, you ask a couple questions. They will ask for your month and the year you were born. That is simply to know if you're close to retirement or if you're under age 22 and you receive FSSI, there are different rules. If you're not close to either one of 22 or 64, I don't even care what birthday you put in. It'll ask for a zip code. You don't even have to put that in. Okay. And depending on what questions you ask, will be the next. Depending on how you answer a question, additional questions will come up. So if you're married and you put that in, it'll ask questions of the spouse. If you have children, it'll ask questions about the children. Again, no private identifying information. I don't have the 20, 30 minutes to go through this, so I'm going to simply take you to a result page. So this is the result page that I did. I did it for someone who was on SSI and SSDI, and I did it for somebody who was on HUD housing and food stamps. And it says, in this plan, you're better off. I answered very simple questions. It has this graph here. There's a purple line that says, this is if your life just stayed the same. You didn't go to work. Then this green line shows you the income. And there's a couple step downs. And those are based on different rules for SSDI. And how would I know in any of this stuff? I'll show you in a minute. Okay, this isn't because I'm the expert. All the information I'm sharing is here. So bottom line, as you have more monthly income, it might go up and down over time, right? Your free healthcare coverage continues, right? Both the SSI and SSDI go to zero, and the SNAP food stamps go to zero. Now, if I told you all your benefits go to zero, you'd be like, I'm not doing this. But let's keep going, though. Your rent will increase over time, right? And you want to report any changes. So let me show you what's happening here. Right now, the person has $901. That's including all their benefits, right? And in 6 months, they'll be making $1,920.81. That is $1,000 more, right? Because of what's called a trial work period, where the individual is allowed to work, earning as much money as they need. But when it hits over $970, they consider it a trial work period. You get 9 trial work periods within a 5-year rolling window. All of this is in DB101. Then after that, your SSDI goes to zero. So when that happens, the person then goes to making $1,409. Now, that's with none of their benefits. They are still making $400 more, right? And this is the kicker. I have this person working at Target, right? Full-time at Target. They get their Medicare still, and they have their Missouri Health Net. Going to work, they have their Medicare, they have the Missouri Health Net, they have private health care through their employer. You can have all 3 of this. So they didn't lose their health care, they actually gained health care. And it talks about some additional rules, talks about the resource limits. It explains extended period of eligibility, all these acronyms, and it suggests even a PASS plan. And a PASS plan is a plan to achieve self-support, which allows people to set aside money for a vocational or educational goal, so for a work or school goal that will help them get off of SSI. And you can set aside money and it's not considered a resource then. Remember that $2,000 resource for somebody on SSI? So someone can use it for work clothes, right? If I go to Target, if I go to work at Target, I'm going to need a bunch of red shirts and khakis. You can make a PASS plan for that. I could use it for assistive technology. Perhaps maybe I need an iPad to help organize because of my disability. That could be an impairment-related work expense, and you could use a PASS plan to get that. You could even use a PASS plan to create your own business. And by the way, 95% increase in self-employment just during the pandemic. A lot of people have realized people with disabilities, we go make our own business. So you can set aside that money. So very easy to understand. And how do I know all this? I go to the timeline, and the timeline will simply go through and tell me anytime there's a significant change. So I'm able to see my trial work periods that I'm using, when my employer healthcare starts, and when my benefits go to zero, and what should I be doing at that time period. It also talks about, because I was on HUD housing, that in the first year, you won't have anything affecting your health care. I'm sorry, your housing. Try the whole sentence. It even tells me that in the first year of going to work, my HUD will not be affected at all. They don't consider it. In the second year, they consider half. So in October of 2023, I can tell you that my subsidy is reduced to $316 and my rent goes up to $423. And then in the following year, they consider full income and what will my rent be in my subsidies. So it even can project those for you. Of course, if there's any changes, you can go back at any time and change it. Stacy wanted to also show you that you can make a PDF file and share this PDF file, email it to anyone. So this is the report. This is the same report with the same information you would get if you went to a benefit counselor. Now, DB101 is not to replace benefit counselors. It is to help subsidize and get you to, if you need more help, but this is all the same information. It's everything I put into it. What did my plan? Here are my results. And that's the information. So here's the timeline I just showed you. Here's what's going to happen in my healthcare. A long report, a lot of information. Here's the calculations. And it was calculate every month, right? So it's a very long report, but it even tells you, look right here, tells you taxes. What are you paying into your FICA, right? And then tips to support you. And so this report can be shared with a counselor. It can be shared with family members, right? Maybe, you know, a mother did it and now wants to share it with their child, right? So that is the estimator. And then back to my homepage. Stacy, do you have a question?
Yes, there was another question. How do the benefits work for the right of people to get married regardless of disabilities or not? So is if you're single or married even a question, and does that affect anything with the disability benefit 101?
Yes, it does. So there's what's called a marriage penalty, is what we call it in the advocacy world. So if you're on SSI, it's based on other people helping you, financial need, because you haven't paid into the SS, because you haven't paid into the SSDI trust fund. It's all about financial need. And because you're married, you're splitting stuff. Somebody's helping you. So there are different amounts. So like the $2,000 resource limit is $3,000 for a couple, right? Benefits are reduced if somebody is on SSI and gets married. If somebody's on SSDI, it will not affect, because SSDI is not about a financial need. So somebody on SSDI has no marriage penalty. And that is one of the laws we're working on. So that's why one of the things that asks within the estimator is, are you married? And then it'll ask if your partner, what they work, what their income is, if they have a disability. So there is unfortunately a marriage disability penalty that we are still working with within Social Security reform 20. Oh, I can't remember the number that they're calling it, but there's a Social Security reform bill right now that has been introduced to the House that is addressing some of those resource limits and some of the marriage penalties. So you have your estimators that we went through, and they had a whole bunch of stuff about trial work periods and extended period eligibility, and I have no idea what any of that is. So I can go to my SSDI because that's what it's referring to. Again, everything's set up exactly the same way. You're seeing how to apply, understanding, right? All those things. I'm going to go to my SSDI and work, and I can learn about what is an extended period eligibility, right? What is a trial work period? So you learn about those rules. They give examples. They have a quick estimator as well. So the trial work period I talked about is that 9 months in a 5-year rolling window. And there's even a little tool that'll show you all the different 5-year rolling windows. So here's September. Next month, September will gray out. And September here will highlight. So I can say, what is somebody earning? So the trial work periods are $907, $70. So if somebody earns $970, they consider that a trial work period. Click, right? And once you've used all of those, then you go into the next part of extended period eligibility. So 970 is trial work period. Doesn't mean I can make as much as I want to. That's your safety net. Save and test out working. After that, move into extended period eligibility. And that's 3 years on and off if you go above substantial gainful activity of 1,350 per month. This one is different if you're blind, it's 2,260. Right? And it explains all of it. It gives you examples. It talks about self-employment. It gives you all the rules. And then here are the videos that also explain it. SSDI and work, SSDI planning to work. So those videos are there to support you. Going back to our homepage. So not only do we have about SSI and SSDI, but you think people worry about healthcare. So there's this great tool called Find the Right Health Care for You. This is great for anyone on SSI or on benefits or not. So I just simply go and I put in how much is the family annual earnings. Let's say this family earns $35,000. That's a family of 3. They have resources under $5,002 because this is where you change if it was a spend down or not account. And then it asks, does anyone have a job that offers healthcare? I'm going to say no. Any children in the family? Yes, we're going to do a 3-generational family. So the child's in the family. Is anyone in your family on Medicare? We're going to say yes, there's a grandma on Medicare. And does anyone have disability determination? Yes, the child does. Now remember, the Medicare is about the grandmother, not about her disability for this. Anyone over the age of 65, yes to grandma. See the options. And what it does is it gives you the green of these options that are available. So it can talk about like Missouri Health Net for Kids, which is healthcare for low-income children. And it says for a family of 3, a household of 3, it's income limit below 69,000, right? But if I went up here and I added one more family member and I go back down, it now has, it now has a mouse going a little crazy. It now has a household of 4. So its information's right there, all the different options. You can click in and take it to the place in DB101, or you can go down here and read more about it. And you can then maybe click in and learn more about it itself, and it takes you right to the page about how healthcare benefits work. And so those benefits, how health benefits work, are right here. Talking about income-based, disability-based, the ticket to work, Medicare, employer sponsor, and even how to use it for healthcare.gov. So individual healthcare through the government, you can also learn how to do that, right? And it gives you some little tips, gives you the information. And it's very here to talk about the resources, everything that you need, and how to even figure out what your accountable income is, all of that. Now, also, we have next steps on all this. Next steps are great. It'll give you a little highlight of what's in there, right? So here's exactly where to get to the Missouri Health Net website. Here's how to get to your family support division. Here's again how to connect a benefits specialist. All those programs, nutritional assistance, download print application in English and Spanish, learning more about Medicare, all of that, phone numbers, again, expert help. You can always find it in the next steps. Back to the home page. Here's that finding, and here's that where I just went in. So those are your healthcare programs. I want to focus the next couple of minutes on some of the other content that I think is really helpful. And one is getting past the myths. So what if you don't even know where to start? Right? It's like I'm babbling a whole bunch of stuff at you, and maybe you're like, it's just too much. Getting past the myths are great to just dip your toe in. The table of contents there is the basics as always, but then we pick out 7 of the major myths. I can't work. If I work, I'll lose my SSI or SSDI. If I work, I'll lose my health care. If I work, I'll lose my disability status. I can't find help to get work. I can't afford to work. And even if I did and my benefits stop, I'm never going to get them back again. All of those are myths. All of those are simply not true. Yet we've been told repeatedly they are. These rules were created in 2000. And yet here we are in 2022, and people still are being given wrong information, sometimes by the quote experts that are there to help them. So let's give you the right information. So if you're worried about losing your healthcare, if I can't work or lose my healthcare benefits, click there. It has a little question here that somebody might say about their ongoing health needs that they're never going to be able to pay for. And people tell them they shouldn't work, right? Stop listening to those people tell you shouldn't work. Go to work. You can do it. You just need the right supports. So let's show you what they are. So we talk about how losing your health care can be a huge concern when you're thinking about going to work, but there are programs that help you. And we start talking about going to finding the right health care coverage for you. We start talking about Medicare, again, in a more condensed way, right? And you can go into more about Medicare and work. You can learn about HealthNet, which is your Medicaid. You can learn that there's rules. When I told you for every $2 you earn, you get to keep one of your SSI. When your check goes to zero, you go into what's called 1619B status, which means you're still eligible. And as long as you're eligible for SSI, even if you don't get a check, you still get health care. That's all that rule tells you, right? And then we go through qualifications and how to apply and what if you have a spend down, and here's that 1619B more information, and the Ticket to Work program to help people go to work. And what about private and public health care, right? So it's just a condensed section. Back to the homepage. So getting past the myth, great way. Just go there and poke around and find out people been giving you wrong information, and you cannot make informed decisions with wrong information, partial information, or just straight out denial of the truth. We want to also talk about job supports and accommodations, because people can go to work. There are laws to protect you underneath the Americans with Disabilities Act. And what if you need to disclose your disability? You don't have to disclose your disability unless you need something from the employer to help you go to work. Those are called reasonable accommodations. And for employees over 50, if they have over 50 employees, there are rules. You have to create reasonable accommodations. And you know what? They're not expensive. Most reasonable accommodations are under $500, and some are completely free, and you could use some accommodations. An employer may never even know that's what they are, right? So we can go into common types of accommodations and learn about what are some rules that are available. Well, how do you request them when you do? We even give you sample letters, right? If I went to next steps here, I would learn about the Job Accommodation Network, where you can go get a list of common accommodations based on your disability. And you can find out that maybe you need an iPhone to help you organize things, right? That can be considered a reasonable accommodation, right? And you can pay for that yourself. And if you pay for it yourself, do you know what that means? You paid it out of your pocket due to your disability, go to work. It's an impairment related work expense, which means some of your work earnings may not even be considered earnings for Social Security. You can learn about all these different resources. The Boston University has great stuff on psych rehab, which is my passion, and you can learn about Missouri assisted technology. What if you needed assisted technology? You can actually test it out or rent it, learn about what works best for you right through your own Missouri Technical Assistant Advisory Council. Click there, find out. Or you can go to your independent living centers. Independent living centers are fabulous. I was founded, the World Institute on Disability was founded through the Independent Living Motion, which believes that it's about us with disabilities helping us with disabilities. And at independent living centers, you can get technical assistance on information and referrals, what I want to say. Information referral, you can, if you don't know where it is, call your independent living center. They should know, right? They can help with advocacy. They can help with appeals processes. If you're getting Social Security, they can tell you right people to contact. You can, which is, by the way, you can also go to your Missouri Protection and Service to learn about that. If you have problems with legal issues regarding Social Security, but you can also learn about independent living skills and all that. So all of that great information. Again, here's the benefit planners, experts, free services you can get to help with that. And that's just in the accommodation section. We also have, again, the work incentives. Everything I've been sharing, let's condense it down even more. SSDI, SSI, healthcare, right? I can go into my SSI. Here's everything that was in the longer one. Here's a little quick tool again, but it's a little bit more condensed, smaller bite sizes. We also have young people. So we have stuff for young people to learn about what programs work for them, the eligibility, SSI for young people. So for people who are young, who are under the age of 18, who are receiving benefits, there are programs for them that help them. There's what's called student earned income exclusion. So if a young person goes to work, they can get their earn over $2,040 and not have a penny of their SSI go away. Now, I didn't show you in the estimator, there's a school and work one because I'm running out of time, but I can go in there and I can very quickly do a school work and estimator to be able to show people what benefits they're going to be on. It takes only a couple minutes, and literally I can go in. I'm going to do it very quickly just so you can see. Say somebody's 16 years old, living at home with their parents with a disability, right? Not blind, no income. These are kind of the simple questions it is. Let's say they earn $220 of their SSI. They receive SSI, no other income. I already know if they have the health net because it's intuitive. I make a plan. What's happening today? They're in school at least half time. What does that mean? Click there and it answers what halftime means. So they're in school. And what is their plan going to be? Their plan is to continue in school. Let's say they're just going to work 10 hours in the after school program at minimum wage. Again, I only start at minimum wage. I think everybody can make as much money as they want. Continue that plan. You're able to show you're better off. You're able to show that they have the 220. They keep that 220 because of student earned income exclusion. And they have $485, which means they went from 220 to 705, and they keep their health care. So really, that's how fast and simple I was able to do an estimator. I can save that. I can make a report. And then I can share that with whoever I want to. The other thing I want to show very quickly, do we have a question, Stacy?
Well, I just wanted to be sure that you showed all the great videos we have.
I'm going to get there in 1 second. The last thing I want to show you is an ABLE account, because you can save, right? People in SSI and SSDI can save. An ABLE account allows people to save $100,000 and not have it considered a resource. So if you're going to apply and you have over $2,000 and you're afraid you're going to be denied because of that $2,000, open an ABLE account. This is how to open an ABLE account, how to compare it, all that stuff. Plus you can learn about tax credits and trust funds. So use an ABLE account. Stacey, those fabulous videos you're talking about that are embedded throughout are also right there. So very quick little videos for Griffin Hammis and Associates about what is SSI, SSI and work, how to keep your Medicaid. That's important, right? What happens if a young person might go to work? That's that student earned income exclusion. You get a lot more money, right? You don't lose any of your SSI check. Doesn't affect HUD, doesn't affect food stamps. What is SSDI? It starts explaining paying into the Social Security Trust Fund that I talked about. Planning to go to work. So how do you plan that? And then how do you make more money, right? What if you're earning over what's substantial gainful activity? That's your extended period eligibility I talked about. And those were all brought to you by the fabulous Missouri DD Planning Council, who also happen to be that smiley face looking at you now. So that is very quickly DB101. And I want to make sure I have the last couple minutes for questions. Oh, I didn't go in the higher education, but there's higher education. Talks about how to fill out applications, even Pell grants, grants, so scholarships, even choosing between a university or college, all of that's in there. Any questions, Stacy?
It looks like we are all caught up with questions from the chat box. I don't see any hands raised. Oh, we do have a quick question. Can you review TWP months and how they are rolling?
Trial work periods is what that is. So those are related to SSDI. So I'm going to go to SSDI and work, because that's a phase of work. There's different phases of work. And the first phase is your extended period of eligibility. So I'm going to go down a little bit. Trial work period explains what it is. After your SSI begins, you enter into what's a trial work period. Doesn't matter how much you make, you will still get your full SSDI check. Trial work period ends with your 9 months within a 5 year. How does it work? It explains it. It gives an example. But what I love is this little tool right here. So every year it changes. So in 2017, it was $840, and now it's $970. So let's say somebody was working in 2019 and they started in November. Their trial work period was triggered by $880. They made over that in November and December. 2 trial work periods were used. They went into 2020, went up to $910, and they work in January and February, making well over $1,000. And we all know what happened in March of 2022. Everybody lost their jobs. We were able to say they used 4 trial work periods. So that means they have 5 more. So that's what it means. So for 5 more months, they can earn as much. And if they don't earn, then it doesn't count, right? And if they go through the 5-year rolling window, this will fall off and it'll just add to top. I always think of Price is Right, with the little thing kind of going out the conveyor belt and fell off the end, and then you had to put it on the end and go back. That's all it does. It does this little circle until you use all 5 within a year. And once you do that, you move into what's called the extended period eligibility. So it's really laid out for you step by step. I hope that helped. So in our last few minutes, I just want to let you know, DB101 is there for everyone. It is there so that you don't have to be reliant on other persons. It has all the information you need. It's there at 2 o'clock in the morning when your case manager isn't, right? Don't have to worry about it returning your phone calls or not, right? You can go in and play with it. I recommend it. Simply go to www.mo.db101.org, and you can go in and get all the information you need, and you can find the expert help you need when you need it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nicholas. And I will be, Chris asked if there will be a recording. Yes, in a couple days after we get it all transferred over to YouTube, we will send out a link to everyone who registered of that recording. And Nicholas, I just want to point out, so if someone, let's say someone starts the calculator and they're like, oh wait, I don't know how to find out my trial work period, is that person able to go back in and restart it? Like if they don't have all the, without having to start all the way over?
Yes, you can. You can save. So you can save, and you can go down here, get a previously saved session. So you can save it sometimes, and it'll even tell you, is this getting too much for you? Go ahead and save. It'll even give you little tips along the way as you do it. All those tips that are shown at the end of that report will be available at the end of your session as well. So you don't have to read it all, because it gets a little much, because quite frankly, you want to know 3 things. Will I be better off? How much money will I have? And what's my health care? Do the estimator, find those answers, and then dig deeper in. And it won't feel as overwhelming, and you'll feel a little bit more hopeful, right? So play with it, use it, get your experts to help with you. And if you have a service provider that you're working with, make sure they're using DB101 with them. Say, hey, do a DB101 session, right? But you don't need the experts. And that's what we have. We have a survey question right now. It says, have you used DB101 before? And do you plan to use it now? I'm hoping to see 100% from all you people that you want to use this.
And remember, this is a free resource in Missouri. Please feel free to share it with other people. We want everyone to use it, and you can't break it. It's not, is what Nicholas said is so important. You have to be sure you're putting in the correct information. So if you can't find it all the first time, that's okay. Just save your session, go do that research, watch a video while you're waiting, if you're waiting to get that information from someone else helping you, and get back to it.
And just really, this was used to help people understand the reality and get rid of those myths. And the main reality is, if you want to go to work, you have the right to go to work, and you have the right to have informed decisions. And that's what this is about, making informed decisions. So don't take someone's word for it. The World Institute of Disability, we work with national experts, state experts. This is what we do. And we do it because we are people with disabilities helping each other. It is not about somebody else telling us what we can and cannot do with our lives. I am myself a person with a disability, and I work, and I have always worked, and I will continue probably to work till I fall over out of this chair. So DB101 to me is an incredible tool that has helped many people achieve the goals they want. And that is why I do this work. So I hope it helps you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And Miranda, we appreciate your positive words there, that it's been helpful to you and your consumers. She said, thank you for all you do. She also asked if the PowerPoint will be available. Nicholas, if you're okay with sharing the PowerPoint, I will include that with the recording, and we'll send that out to everyone.
Please do, and use it kind of as a table of contents. Just click the little section, you'll find where you are. Right.
All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you, Nicholas Love. As always, we appreciate you.
Thank you. You want to stop recording?